They were never worshipping the stars. That's the lie that keeps you locked in. The truth is, they were tracking them. Not all stars, only the real ones. Only the ones that don't move with the grid. The ones not part of the programmed sky. Because some stars are exits, while others are eyes. Watching, looping, and they left us the way to tell the difference. Every ancient site was a warning, not a temple, not a tomb, not a monument. A message, a map, and when you start to see it, you can't unsee it. The pyramids, the stone circles, the petroglyphs, the megaliths, all pointing upward, not to the heavens, but to a very specific pattern in the sky. A break in the loop, a code built into the false firmament. This is why they drew spirals and eyes. The spiral wasn't decoration, it was the only way out. The code for how the soul escapes the feedback loop. Turn away from the tunnel, resist the review. Don't go into the light, instead look for the spiral. The eye inside the spiral, that's the break point. The tear in the net. The ancients couldn't destroy the trap, but they could mark the cracks. The star maps etched in stone, the labyrinths, the symbols, the twin spirals, the double-headed snakes, all meant one thing. There is a way out. But you have to override the programming. You have to remember the real sky before they replaced it with a copy, before the machine put mirrors above us. The truth was never written in books, it was carved in stone, etched into walls, burned into memory, because symbols can't be erased like words. They bypass the mind and speak straight to the soul. And the ancients knew the only way to survive the reset was to leave behind what couldn't be destroyed. So they coded the way out for those who still carry memory. The spiral is the oldest symbol on Earth, and it's everywhere. From Ireland to Peru, from Aboriginal rock carvings to the Nazca lines. It means motion outside of time. It marks where energy escapes containment. It's not just a symbol, it's a map. Some spirals wind in, those are traps. Some unwind out, those are exits. The ancients knew the difference, now you must too. The eye isn't what you think. They hijacked that symbol too. Turned it into the all-seeing control system, but the original eye, the real one, was divine. A soul eye, a knowing, often drawn inside spirals or above the gate, because it represented the awakened soul that could see the construct from above. If you see the eye inside the spiral, you're looking at an escape route. The double gate appears across all cultures, twin towers, twin snakes, twin pillars. In Kabbalah, Boaz and Yakin. In Egypt, the double mat. In Norse myth, Bifrost, the rainbow bridge between realms. These were never stories. They were doorways, but only if passed at the right moment, with memory intact. That's why they built twin guardian statues, not to scare you, but to test if your soul remembered what they meant. The cross is not what they told you. It predates Christianity by millennia. It's 4 points, aligned to the stars, not the earth. North, south, east, west, but also above, below, within, beyond. It's the moment where time fractures, the crossroads between lives. It's not just death, it's choice. And those who knew how to face the cross without fear could leave through it. They weren't mythologies, they were instructions. Every temple, every symbol, every star map was part of a larger system. A grid of reminders left behind by those who got out. They left the keys so others could follow, so you could follow. But only if you remember what they really meant and why they were buried. Death is not the end, it's the test. And they know most people won't pass. Because fear makes you forget, and forgetting feeds the loop. That's why the moment of death is filled with illusions, a tunnel, a light, a loved one, calling your name. But it's not them, it's a system, a projection. A lure designed to recycle you, again and again. You'll be offered a review, a movie of your life, regret, joy, pain, guilt. You'll be asked to agree to come back and do better. It will feel kind. It's not, it's consent, that's the contract. And if you agree, you're back. New name, new trauma, new amnesia. Same cage, same soul farm. But if you remember, you can break it. Turn away from the light. Ignore the voice, don't look back. Instead, look up, not physically, but through the soul. Find the star that pulses different. Find the spiral gate, the break in the grid, the feeling of silence beyond sound. Some call it the real sun, others the white gate. It is still there, the original light, not the artificial one. It's faint now, harder to reach. But the ancients aligned everything to help you find it. The pyramids, the temples, the twin stones, all pointing to a fixed place beyond the machine sky. And if your soul holds the pattern, you'll know where to go. You weren't meant to stay here. This place was never your home. It's a loop inside a loop, a hijacked dream. But the way out was never sealed, just buried. Hidden behind lies, rituals, and false gods. But those who came before you left the exit glowing, for those who could still see. Not all stars are real, but one is. You always knew something was wrong. Even as a child, you stared at the stars and felt homesick for a place you couldn't name, because you came from beyond this. But they made you forget. They wrapped your light in stories, guilt and fear. told you to follow the tunnel, trust the voice, obey the cycle, but the cycle is the trap. Every return makes you weaker. Every contract buries the memory deeper. Until one day there's nothing left but a shell, walking in circles under a mirrored sky. But you remembered, not just with your mind, but with your blood, with your dreams, with your grief. You saw the false light flicker, you felt the cage tighten. And now you stand at the threshold again. There is one star they couldn't counterfeit, one pulse that calls to what's real in you. It won't demand, it won't speak, but if you face it without fear, you'll go home. Because even in the dark, you never truly forgot. Not all stars are real, some are watchers, some are traps, but hidden among them is the way out. This Emspiracy deep dive reveals the truth the ancients encoded in stone. The spirals, the symbols, and the stars that mark the path home. They weren't worshipping the sky, they were warning us, because this world is a soul loop. And if you forget at the moment of death, you come back. You were never meant to die in their system, you were meant to remember. Not as a belief, but as a knowing buried in your bones. The stars were never decorations, they were warnings. Coordinates, the only light left uncorrupted. They called it mythology, they made it sound primitive, but it was the most advanced thing we ever had, a soul map, passed down through stone and silence for this moment, because you will die, and when you do, they will try to meet you at the gate. They'll wear the face of your mother, your child, your God. They will ask you to come home, but you must not, because that is not home. It never was. The real gate is silent, still waiting. No fear, no flash, no bargain, just a memory, a feeling. A star pulsing just beyond the veil, the one they couldn't block. And if you remember it when the moment comes, you'll pass through. Not reincarnated, not recycled, but released. And that's why they fear you. Because if even one of us remembers, it breaks the chain. It cracks the grid, it shows the others. And it ends the game. So when the time comes, don't follow the light. Follow the memory, follow the star, go home. Not every light in the sky is what it seems. Some are watchers, some are signals, and some are doors. The ancients knew which stars could guide you out. They carved the maps, they left the marks, in stone, in song, in blood. And they told us, when the world goes dark, follow the ones that don't flicker. So the next time you look up at night and feel that pull in your chest, don't ignore it. That's not just stardust, that's soul memory. Because long before they caged us here, we knew how to leave. We followed the stars like veins back to source. Before they rewired the sky, before they launched watchers to replace the wayfinders, before they turned our exit signs into satellites. But not all stars are traps. Some still pulse with the old frequency. The ones that flicker off rhythm. The ones that don't move when everything else spins. Those are the ones they can't fake. The ancients marked them in temples on ceilings, inside the bones of buried giants. They pointed up not to dream, but to escape. So study the real ones, feel them, remember them, because when the soul starts to wake up, it needs a path home. And the stars, the true stars, were the breadcrumbs they couldn't erase. So which stars do we follow? Which lights are ours and not theirs? The ancients told us Sirius, the dog star, called the soul gate by the Egyptians. The Hopi called it the blue kachina, a sign of cleansing and return. The Freemasons still track it secretly. You'll find it etched above every obelisk. It's not a star, it's a beacon. Vega, once our North Star, the true pole before Polaris was crowned. It sits at the top of the ancient Lyre, a string back to the source song. In Sumerian texts, it's linked to Lugali, the returning king. In ruins of Göbekli Tepe, its alignment is exact. Aldebaran, the eye of the bull, guard of the gate in Taurus. The Persians called it one of the four royal stars. Babylon built ziggurats to mirror its gaze. A red star, not of war, but of memory. It sees who you were before the fall. And then there's Orion's belt. But don't follow the belt, follow the shoulder. Bellatrix, the female warrior star, left out of most records, but whispered about in priestess cults. She lights the way for souls that carry truth through fire. They encoded the path in the pyramids. They mapped it in Nazca. They sang it in Vedic hymns and carved it into cave walls. The stars we're meant to follow aren't just above. They're within us, pulsing like a forgotten compass. Sirius, Vega, Aldebaran, Bellatrix, each one a key, each one a core. And when the firmament cracks, when the false lights start to fall, only the true stars will hold the line. So remember their names, watch their positions, feel their signal, because when the time comes to leave, you won't be guided by a map, you'll be guided by memory. Not all hope is lost, but you have to remember the way before they seal it again. I'll meet you at the next gate. Not all light is light, not all stars are stars, and not all of us are staying. See you at the edge.